Ben-Hur is one of my most personal favorite films that I cherish to my heart. Not only because it's one of the greatest films ever made back in the golden age of Hollywood, but also this is one of the first mature films I ever watched with my dad as a kid. And yeah, I liked this movie when I was a kid, and it's 3 hours and 42 minutes. So before I get into this review, this movie, the original, means a lot to me. Now let's get into the new 2016 version of Ben-Hur. And here it is. So what I did before watching this movie, I genuinely did not want to hear anyone else's opinion about the new version. I didn't even want to look at the critic score. I didn't want to look at the audience score. I came into this movie blinded. I did not know what was going to happen. And to be honest, from the trailers, the very first one, it did not do anything for me. The second one did a little bit better, but yes, it had that cliche Christian songs in it. But was the movie good? Because a trailer can sometimes bash a movie, and the movie can be way more better than what the trailer set the tone for what it was going to be. And guys, I really liked Ben-Hur. First going to talk about the positives, which being Jack Houston and Toby Kebbell, and they are great as the brothers. You feel instantly in the very first scene you see them together that they truly love each other, and they're there for each other. And then throughout the film you see why they have to do what they do, because they have different set of beliefs and different household names. And it's heartbreaking to see, especially near the middle of the film to the end, because you want them to be brothers again, because it's like the story with Ramesses and Moses. You feel the connection and you believe it, and the way they portrayed the characters, it just felt, it was so real. That was one thing I need to say. It is real with their acting, and it's not just a movie when they're with each other on screen. Another thing that surprised me was the screenplay. I thought it was really well done. In some parts, yes, there were some cheesy lines here and there throughout the film, but overall, it was really well done and way better than what I expected it to be for this film. And also, the guy who played Jesus, he wasn't in the movie a lot, but his scenes were so key in the film. They were so important, especially with Ben-Hur's character and the whole message of the film. And I love the message in it. They did such a good job honoring the old and making it new, and for this new generation to see this Ben-Hur story. And to my surprise, and I kind of guessed it, I thought this movie was probably going to get 20 to 40% critics, and I think it's at 30 right now. And honestly, I don't really care. Suicide Squad got 26%. I don't care. BVS got 26%. I don't care. Risen got 50-something%, and I love Risen. So honestly, I don't care about their opinions, because we all have our own. And if you didn't like this movie, that's okay. You have your own opinion. Now, before people jump on my case, are you saying this movie's better than the original? Not by a long shot. Ben-Hur, the original cut, is still one of the most amazing arts of film. Ben-Hur is art. That's what it is. It's one of the greatest Charlton Heston films, and maybe in my top 5 of greatest all-time golden age films in Hollywood, because that movie set the standard for movies today. And I thought, in my own opinion, with this new version, I thought they did a good job honoring it and putting some new stuff into it. One thing that I didn't really dig was Morgan Freeman's character. I really did not. I guess that's kind of like a negative. He just didn't do anything for me, especially with those god-awful dreadlocks. Like, take that off. They could have done a different haircut. He's just too well known to have that stupid haircut on his face. But like I said before, I want people to know that I love Ben-Hur way, way more than the new version, because it set a huge, big standard for Hollywood. So don't get mad at me if I have a really good grade for this new version. Ben-Hur, the original, is like a 10 out of 10, because they took 3 hours and 42 minutes of character development, and you felt everything. This movie is a 2 hour and 3 minute film. That's a little bit harder to do that with emotions for a 4 hour cut of a film. And I thought they did a great job. I didn't feel like it was rushed for the emotions of each character, especially for the mother and the sister to Ben-Hur. I thought it was really well done how they did their characters justice in the ending, and especially in the ending. I understand why there is so much hate for it, but in my own Christian worldview, I loved it. And I guess the only negatives in this film is sometimes the pacing in it. It's a little bit off, because sometimes, honestly, they address some things that I've already heard before, and then they just keep on prolonging the scene. And they just honestly could have cut at least 10 minutes of the film. Just 10 minutes. It could have been an hour and 50 minutes, but they decided to do the 2 hour and 3 minute cut version. But that's not even a huge gripe, because this movie is actually a really, really good, well-done film. It's just the pacing was a little bit too long, and the ending kind of went a little bit too long too also. Really, my only negatives with this film is probably the pacing is kind of off, and especially in the middle. You wanted to pick up some parts, but they just extend some scenes that I really didn't feel like were that needed. They were good, but I genuinely felt like the movie could have been at least 8 to 12 minutes shorter. And in the ending too, also, it felt a little bit long as well, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. It's not a bad ending, it's actually a good ending. They could have just trimmed some of the fat of the film a little bit for me. One more thing too, is that the CGI, I mean, it's acceptable for this film, but sometimes the shots, especially in the water scene where they're getting rammed by the other boats, I've seen better. I mean, it was still acceptable. Like, I sadly watched it in 3D. I'm never going to do that again. It gave me a headache, especially during the chariot race scene, which was amazing. The chariot race scene was super, super good. Like, I didn't want to forget about that one. Thank you, Joseph, for reminding me. But that scene, the CGI, was really good in that one. It's just, in the water scene, just was not that good, honestly. Overall thoughts for Ben-Hur 2016 version, I thought it was a genuinely good time in the movies, and I think the story and message in it was very compelling, especially for Christians. And if you're not a Christian, I really think you should watch it, because I don't want to just be like, Christians can only like this film. I feel like if you open your heart to it, especially in the ending, just get ready for it. I think you'll enjoy it. It's just, there's a lot of very critique people. People have been saying that the ending is so god-awful. I don't understand why they think it's so awful. I can understand if it's too preachy for you, but it's not awful. So, that's my opinion of Ben-Hur. I'm going to give Ben-Hur a solid 8 out of 10. So I really hope you enjoyed this review. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and tell everyone about me. And please, don't forget to be blessed.